Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I'll be analyzing the case of Ryan Borgwardt. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. Ryan Borgwardt was born in September 1979 and lived in Watertown, Wisconsin. This small town is 42 miles east of Madison. In 2002, Ryan married a woman named Emily. They went on to have 3 children. Now moving to the timeline of the incident. On August 11, 2024, Ryan Borgwardt was kayaking on Green Lake in Brooklyn, Wisconsin. This is 56 miles north of Watertown. Green Lake, which is sometimes called Big Green Lake, is 11.5 square miles and has a maximum depth of 237 feet. Ryan texted his wife and said he was turning his kayak around and heading to shore, but he never returned home. He was reported missing on August 12. Here is what the police found during the course of their investigation. A van and a trailer owned by Ryan were found near a boat launch on Green Lake. His overturned kayak was discovered in the lake. In addition, the police recovered his water bottle, life jacket, fishing rod, and tackle box. His wallet, driver's license, and keys were inside the tackle box. The police did not find Ryan. Considerable resources were used to search for him, but there was no success. He was nowhere to be found. On November 8, 2024, almost 3 months after Ryan went missing, the police said that he probably did not drown in the lake. They could not find his body even after searching the entire lake, and his passport had been used in Canada on August 13, the day after he was reported missing. The police believed that Ryan had engaged in an elaborate scheme to fake his own death. As it turns out, Ryan had been communicating with a woman in Uzbekistan who spoke Russian. Uzbekistan is a landlocked country in Central Asia. It's north of Afghanistan. Technically, it is double landlocked. All the countries that surround it are landlocked. The nation declared independence from the Soviet Union in 1991. In 1992, Uzbekistan established diplomatic relations with the United States, but there is no extradition agreement. The country has been described as hot, dry, desolate, heavily polluted, authoritarian, and plagued by rampant corruption. Arbitrary arrests and severe mistreatment at the hands of law enforcement are common occurrences. It is not a place known for attracting American tourists, mostly because of the repeated human rights violations part. In addition to speaking to a woman in Uzbekistan, there were other clues that Ryan had staged his own death. In January 2024, he took out a $375,000 life insurance policy. Ryan reported that his passport had been lost or stolen. He obtained a new passport on May 22, 2024. Ryan replaced the hard drive in his laptop and cleared his internet browsers. He changed his email addresses and connected them with his bank accounts, inquired about moving money to a foreign bank account, and purchased an airline gift card. Despite Ryan's efforts to eliminate evidence of his deception, the police managed to find a few phone numbers on his electronic devices. One of those phone numbers led them to a Russian-speaking woman. The police didn't say if this was the same woman from Uzbekistan who I mentioned earlier. The Russian-speaking woman facilitated contact between Ryan and the authorities. Contact was made with him on November 11. At the request of the police, Ryan supplied them with a video. He said, "I am safe, secure, no problems." Ryan showed the police the apartment where he was living, but would not reveal his location. The police believe he is in Eastern Europe. Ryan communicated with the police beyond the short video. He revealed how he faked his own death. Here's what he said. On August 11, 2024, Ryan paddled his kayak and a small inflatable boat into Green Lake. He flipped the kayak over and paddled the inflatable boat back to shore. Using an e-bike that he had positioned near the boat launch, he rode overnight to Madison, Wisconsin, 68 miles to the south. After completing this environmentally friendly part of the journey, Ryan boarded a bus to Detroit, then made his way to the Canadian border. After crossing into Canada, he took a bus to an airport and boarded a flight. The Green Lake County Sheriff indicated that Ryan could be charged with obstruction. The sheriff's office would like Ryan to make restitution for the $35,000 to $40,000, which was spent searching for him. Ryan has been made aware that charges are being considered. There has been a discussion between him and the police. It's not like they are hiding this from him. He could also face federal charges. At the time I'm making this video, no charges have been filed. The sheriff has been more focused on trying to convince Ryan to return home and cleaning up the mess that he created. He said that officers were trying to pull at Ryan's heartstrings. Furthermore, the sheriff indicated that Christmas was coming and suggested that Ryan could give no better gift to his kids than to be there with them for Christmas. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. Ryan told the police that he did not expect the search for him to last for more than 2 weeks. He feels bad about all the hours that were invested to find him and is concerned about how the community would react if he returned. Ryan has not spoken to his wife or children, only to the police. As far as his motive, the sheriff suggested Ryan felt like faking his death and leaving was the right thing to do. The sheriff said, quote, he was going to try to make things better in his mind, unquote. The $375,000 life insurance policy was not purchased to benefit Ryan. Rather, it was intended for his family. Item number 2. This experience must be extremely difficult for Ryan's family. Before the scheme was discovered, when the police were still searching for Ryan, his wife sold T-shirts containing the message, "Faith over fear." It appears as though she had no idea that he had faked his death. She was hopeful that Ryan could be found. Now she has been forced to return to teaching in a parochial school in order to pay the bills. Ryan's family members probably don't know what to think about his behavior. What belief about the outcome in this case was worse for them? Believing that Ryan drowned in a lake or discovering that he executed a complex plot to disappear? The first scenario is tragic but does not involve any intent. The second is personal. It could be interpreted as a harsh rebuke. Item number 3. Another possibility here is that Ryan really did believe that disappearing was in the best interest of his family. There has been a lot of talk about how Ryan must have left because of the Russian-speaking woman, like there was some type of romantic involvement. However, the police have not said anything about this woman being a love interest. The sheriff said something about Ryan being emotional, which would be an unusual way to describe someone who left to pursue a lover. I would think that if Ryan was chasing a love interest, he would be euphoric and lost in the fantasy of being with a new lover. Returning to the United States would not be on his mind to any extent. Furthermore, Ryan may not be in Uzbekistan. The woman was from that country, but that doesn't mean that he went there. Maybe her purpose was simply to assist Ryan with his travel plans. It's possible that Ryan became depressed and just started thinking his family would be better off if he was gone. He did not want to die, so he decided to start a new life in Eastern Europe. There is no way to know for sure. Perhaps Ryan will come back someday and explain it, but even if that happens, he may not tell the truth. His motive may remain a mystery, but there is no question he had a high level of commitment to his plan. Again, he took out the insurance policy back in January 2024. He had a lot of time to think about what he was doing, yet he still went forward with his plan. Item number 4. Many members of the public have reacted strongly to the story of Ryan Borgwardt. They are stunned that the sheriff of Green Lake County has been so focused on getting Ryan to return and not really talking a lot about criminal charges. As I mentioned, the sheriff talked about criminal charges, but he doesn't seem that invested in them. People wonder if Ryan's family wants him to return or if Ryan coming back into their lives would be good for them. Like maybe they do want him back, but they shouldn't want him back. The sheriff gave a press conference where he made it clear the primary objective was getting Ryan home safely. He appeared to be highly focused on how Ryan's children were feeling about this situation. My guess is that the sheriff has determined that Ryan's family does want him back. If they didn't, it would be strange to place so much of an emphasis on Ryan's return. As far as all the criticism directed at the sheriff, I can appreciate why there has been concern. One could make a very good argument that Ryan broke the law and he needs to pay. However, I was actually impressed by the sheriff. He seems like a decent and compassionate law enforcement officer who has a genuine desire for the best outcome in this case. The sheriff is not saying that charges will never be filed. Rather, he is simply emphasizing reconciliation over punishment. If Ryan returns, and someday everything works out for him, he has the sheriff to thank. Now moving to my final item, number 5. Would it be a good idea for Ryan to return and to reconcile with his family? What are the chances that this would lead to a satisfactory conclusion? This is just a theory, my opinion. Ryan's behavior has put his family in a tough situation. Returning would be very awkward. I imagine he would have to answer a number of challenging questions, like, why did you fake your death? Why did you move to Eastern Europe? And how can anyone be certain you won't do it again? It's the kind of behavior that Ryan and his family members will be talking about for a long time into the future. People are not going to forget Ryan's little adventure. For instance, he may hear something like, "Hey Dad, remember when you pretended to drown in a lake and left the country? Good times." I would also imagine Ryan's participation in water activities will be greatly limited. The closest he will get to fishing is reeling in a boatload of regret. It would take a lot of work to heal the damage that Ryan caused, work on the part of his family, and work on his part. Ryan needs to figure out why he did this. It would be surprising if the problems that led to this were insignificant. Even people who are under a lot of stress rarely take the fake-your-own-death route. I know the sheriff seems optimistic about the value of Ryan returning, like it would be a glorious moment worthy of being celebrated alongside Christmas. But in reality, Ryan's return may be more like getting a lump of coal in one's stocking. Rather than a triumphant achievement, it would be the beginning of a long and painful process. Now moving to my final thoughts. It is not uncommon for people who are depressed to develop a fantasy about starting over. They want to go back in time and take a different path. Everything from their current life needs to be washed away. They want a clean break, a fresh start. It's never about completing the hard work of healing. Rather, it is a desire to gain a quick fix, one that allows them to avoid shame. They don't want to deal with all the people they offended. They just want to go away and hide and emerge as a completely different person. One of the many problems with this attitude is how it really doesn't solve anything. Even if someone could somehow get a fresh start, they would make the same mistakes. They would fall into the same pattern of behavior. What they really need to be is a different person, to have a different personality. Changes to one's personality can occur, but that usually takes a long time. One could make a very good argument that the story of every person's life, without exception, is one of redemption. No one is free from regret. No one is free from bad decisions. Rather than looking for a fresh start, a more productive attitude is seeking a journey of redemption. If a person took a long trip into a dark forest, they wouldn't expect to be magically teleported out of there. Rather, they must make the long journey back through the forest to escape. Sometimes the road must be traveled in both directions. Those are my thoughts on the case of Ryan Borgwardt. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.